Okay, so the first thing that I want to show you is the general plan. I restructured it a little bit to make it easier to understand, and I did some polishing with Mark on the weekend. So let's see. Let me clean all of this. There are some things in which I'm actually gonna need your input. So the first thing is we have the kickoff, which is basically making the payments and sending the golden sample to TravelJoy, which, by the way, quick discussion we had about it is that maybe we don't need to send them a golden sample, but instead they should make one. And instead, what we should do is, because there's already been many changes to things like bushings and everything, so a golden sample should be identical to what they're gonna make, right? I
Right.
still haven't fully defined this with Mark. I think it still would be valuable for them to get one that behaves the way we want it to behave and doesn't necessarily have the exact same geometry. So that part's still a little bit on discussion. So I'm gonna find a
Yeah.
little bit of a window of time to talk with Mark about it. Actually, let's. Give me one second. I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget. Sorry. Okay. Okay, let's go back. And okay, so that's this first part. Then there's a preliminary design update. This is something that TravelJoy does internally, and we believe that does not affect the timelines that they gave us on the tooling. So as you can see, the tooling actually starts in parallel with this thing right here, right? The green bar is basically today, so that means that they already
Well,
started on the tooling. Here's the
but
thing.
they haven't.
Exactly. They haven't. I just read their message. They're waiting for an email of final approval today. And that means that there might be some changes there, and we might need to ask them if they're still committing to that deadline there.
Yep.
Because right now we have the tooling for the 23rd of April. That's when they should give us. Actually, sorry, this is for travel. This
Oh,
is for Dragon.
that's
Sorry.
for Dragon.
Yeah.
Yep. Which I think you saw. I followed up with Kevin because if you saw Lisa's email from Dragon, they were saying their molds aren't being completed, estimated until 5/16 right now. So
That's what
um,
I saw, and that's actually way longer than we thought
yeah,
because
yeah,
especially
it
the
is.
rubber teeth
Um,
tooling is.
I I think the Dragon tooling knob here is very optimistic. I don't believe that they can complete that in 4 weeks, even if everything is good. But we should be doing way better than 5/16. So I challenged him on that, and I'm gonna be. I think what happened because if you notice, so the Dragon email there is kind of like a generic sales email. All of them are attached to it. So as you notice, that email that was actually sent was from a lady named Lisa. She usually starts stepping in once POs are cut. Um, but Kevin's still obviously a go-to guy, so that's why I went back outside of that with Kevin. It was like, hey, you got to get with your team because what she did was just went with their original, like basically bid package that I saw on Mark's RFP. Their original bid package actually said 5/16 on the tooling, but that is not what Kevin has told us for a tooling lead time. So I challenged him to go back to his team and come back with some better dates because I think that she just pencil whipped it right off the RFP quote that they sent to us.
on time.
Yep. Right. Hmm. I would be very shocked if the tooling wasn't completed well before the 16th. Like I said, because that's actually 7.5 weeks, and Kevin told us that it's 4 to 6 weeks. And from the rubber toolings and everything that I've done with them has been about 5 to 6 weeks, but that's been normal. That wasn't. We were in dire need. This is critical path. Like get all your team on this. Make sure everything's accelerated. That was just we're in good normal pace, 5 to 6 weeks. So 7.5 weeks. That's why I say she just pencil whipped it, because I don't think there was any analyzing actually done to it. She just went off whatever was on the paper. So that's why I'm having Kevin going back with them and follow up to make sure to actually give us real dates and stress how critical this initial one for him on the tooling is for us. So, but I think you're on that WhatsApp chat now. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean that actual production looks great. Like if they're doing 27,000 units of each per week, that's exactly where we need them to be. Um, right. Those are for a 65 cavity mold. Yep. Yep. Hmm. Right. Right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Obviously, we keep everything as is for now. We'll adjust once we actually get some real numbers. Right, because that's right. The steel parts are like 4 weeks for tooling at Travel Joy, right? Yep, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, and Mark and I were even talking like we think the rubber parts is a pretty low risk too, but we still have to do our due diligence and check it out. And but yep. Hmm. Oh, that's 14 days, so that's their production time and shipping time added in there. Or Yeah, and they're 12-hour shifts, so. I would probably keep that at 4 days. This is going to be their first run plus and depending because with resin and everything sometimes you got to warm it up and everything. There's a bit of a process. It doesn't just go right into production. You don't get the full 12 hours right out of the gate. I think that's a little unrealistic if we don't consider that. I mean, if for some reason they can achieve it, great, but I don't see that being realistic to actually get done in 3 days. Just to be honest. I do. I mean, it really should be. They shouldn't be outside of that as long as they hit the production numbers that they do, but they do need a little bit of time um, to get it actually into the production. I mean, I think everything here is super challenged, super rushed, in a perfect storm, um, which is I think some of the challenge, but they kind of we got to push to get there. Yep. Um, for preparing it and everything, no. Yeah, they should be able to do that in one day. The only thing with sea travel that's the unpredictable part is just when the vessel leaves. A vessel doesn't leave every day, it doesn't leave every hour. Sometimes it leaves once a week, sometimes it leaves once every 2 weeks, and it depends on what port it's going to. So they, yeah. Like usually when my freight from Asia or anywhere is ready, it's anywhere from 5 upwards to 10 days before the vessel ships out. Um, I think it might be. I gotta just figure out what the actual travel time is going to be on the ocean wise for from Dragon to Travel Joy, like from Vietnam to Taiwan. I don't see it being crazy, but as long as it can get loaded in 7 days, I mean 7 to 10 days might be realistic. I'll have to try to figure out what the travel time is from Vietnam to Taiwan. So. Um, But yeah, I actually so I have a freight forwarder. Actually, I just got on a call last week, and I'm going to follow up with her because they just set up an office in Vietnam, so they should have some really good Vietnam information, which would be really critical for this part of it. I'll try to figure out when um, when the vessels leave the port, because usually sometimes they're around the same day, like maybe it's every other Wednesday or every Wednesday type deal. I'll try to get that exact information and figure out how long it takes to ship from Vietnam to Taiwan. So. um, yes. Yep. Yep. Yeah, because we could get lucky, and depending on the date range, it could fall and maybe ship out in 3 days after the production's ready. And, um, mhm. That's the other thing too. If we know that they only even do it once a month, and we have that date that they end up shipping it on. We know what timeline we're going to need to hit to get it there, so we don't lose time waiting for the next vessel to leave. I would keep it for the 5th of May right now. Again, until we have more accurate information, but I'm not going to be very happy if he comes back and says that it's actually 5/16, because that is not what he told us. Then, like I said, that's 7.5 weeks of production or for tooling, where they said it was supposed to only be 4 to 6. Um, so, like I think I would be very shocked if it still says 5/16 again. Like I said, I will not be very happy with him. Yeah, yeah. Like honestly, I think the 5/5 is the absolute like minimum there that they should be doing. If anything, I'm expecting that tooling to be done a little earlier than that if possible. So, but yeah, I would keep that, most definitely not change that for right now. So, yeah. But does this read that Travel Joy started their tooling 3/24? Is there right? Okay. Well, yeah, because they haven't started anything yet. They're hoping to start tomorrow, but that will be April 1st. I just want realistic timelines of where we're at. That's all I'm questioning it. Yeah. I I don't see why not. They haven't started tooling, so I mean to use that 3/24 day right now is already creating unrealistic expectations. Um, Yeah, did you see Rachel's email that came out today that she wanted some of the files of the drawings approved, so that way they could actually proceed with the tooling tomorrow? Okay, perfect. Okay. Sorry. I just squirreled things. Sorry. It's usually you doing the squirrel. It was me doing the squirrel this time. The squirrel. Changing subject. Sorry, I've got like 50 million things just running through my head right now. It's yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I would change that to 4 days. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Hmm. How's that calc? How does that calculate? If you don't mind me asking, because it's 4 weeks starting on April 1st, but it says it goes to the 29th. Weeks exact to the day of April 1st would be April 22nd. '21. 28. Yeah. Right. Yeah. One, two. Right. Yep. 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 Um, either or. Doesn't matter. I can do it. Let's just wait until we get started in tooling though, because we need to get the tooling for focused on here, and then we can start dialing this stuff in. And we'll also be able to help update this timeline too when we get, oh yeah, we can do all those in one day, or well, we have to do it, we have to anodize it separate after we stamp it. After we stamp it, maybe we have to give it so much time before we send it there. Blah blah blah. But we'll get that information. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, if that happens, that's gonna cripple us. Because I don't think we can. If there's modifications needed to a plastic injection molded tooling, I don't believe that they're going to have that modifications and backup production in 8 days. That's a really simple tweak for I've seen some be able to get done in a week, but it's a very small tweak. So hopefully that's all that it is if it needs anything. But let's just cross our fingers we don't have to worry about that one. Yes, very small. Good. Okay. Very minimal. Okay. That makes sense. Right. Yep. Hmm. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Yep. Right. Well, we need that for our video call too, because they need that so they can show us the rubber sleeves on and actually fitting on the right position. So, yep, that's important. Yeah, yeah, I would say that's a pretty safe estimate. Should be pretty quick. No worries. But like the barrel nut and stud. Is that what you're talking about? Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Right. Yep. Yep. Right. Hmm. Yes. Yep. Hmm. Yeah. I think Tony might be helping us out in that category. He seemed pretty engaged on the call that he was gonna, as soon as they could get things up and ready, they're gonna start assembling. So, yeah. Oh, right, right. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yes and no. So it is 36 days of sea travel, but again, it's when it leaves the port, which that's not a two that could again be anywhere from 2 to 10 days. So, and if those things hit that 10-day mark, then putting these timelines in, we're gonna be well behind. But yeah, the 36 days is what they estimated just sea travel. Yep. hmm that does that actually gets done in the sea before it even hits the port. Where is that? Mm-hmm. Not at this time. I mean, I think of it. I think we're gonna have to really dial in a lot of these dates, um, but we just need a little more information before we do that. But yes, yeah, yeah. He mentioned that he wants us to live in Soho projects. Yep. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'd rather have the reference too. Okay, that works. Hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I'll rescrub it a few times. I didn't see anything. I mean, it's really detailed. You guys did a really good job on it. Um, I just, like I said, I just want to get some more real numbers in there because, like, some of those things scare me when we just only consider 36 days. That's That's just the ocean travel, not how long it takes to actually get the thing onto a vessel and shipped out. Those are that's a week and a half sometimes. That's huge. Um, so we just need to know that because if we're expecting a certain timeline and it's 2 weeks off because of we didn't consider that it takes 10 days just for it to ship out sometimes. I think shame on us. Hmm. Yeah, unless we can find other ways to cut out sometimes. Because unfortunately, a vessel is not one of those things you can change the time on when it leaves the port. So that we have no control over that one. Hurricane season actually starts in June. And to be honest, like so last year, June was one of our heavier months because I think that was when I think it was Eileen hit. Was it? Yeah, but yeah, we got slaughtered in June. Um, it's usually not as active in June, but it can be because that's when hurricane season starts. But no, the whole goal is just to try to get this as soon as we can. So, that's why I'm pushing back on Kevin on those lead times right now. As we go, we got to try to make up ground on the way. But yeah, yeah, and that's actually the fast shipping out of Taiwan because we're not even doing their regular LCL, which is the more cost effective because that's another 2 weeks on on the ocean. Yeah, so technically what we're going to be doing is a type of that, but we so it depends on really what port it comes into out of Asia. If it comes into the East Coast, it's a lot longer. They have to go through the Panama Canal. It takes long travel. But if they go through the West Coast to California, it shortens up the time. But but then you tend to, because ocean freight usually is a little cheaper than inland freight, so you end up paying a little more for the shipment because one, it's faster to get to the States, but then you pay from West Coast all the way to the East Coast, that shipment. So that's why it costs a little extra. We try not to use that lane unless we have to, but it is faster. But I mean, we have to do it for this project because we can't wait the other 2 weeks for it to come into the East Coast, or at least for the initial order anyway. So that 12,000, yeah, 12,500 or whatever ends up being. I think we're gonna touch through and find some areas. So. Oh no. Is that what he just said? Bored, stuck at the airport, and I don't have Tim's shirt to cuddle up with. You know what I'm saying? I think the only time Mark didn't really get delayed on his flights was when him and I went out to Asia together. I'm the lucky squirrel. Look at that happy face. Oh my gosh.
So far, I'm
and
only.
it begins.
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
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 So far, I'm only delayed an hour, but my connection was moved off by 2 or 3 hours. So maybe I don't know. I hate traveling. I hate traveling. Yeah. All right. How does that work? That's a good question. So I guess so. Do I hear what? Yeah, I can hear you guys. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm sure the 16th is a mistake. Like I said, if they hold to that 516, I'm going to be actually really pissed at Kevin. We're going to have a call because that's 7.5 weeks, and their tooling does not take that long, or has not taken that long. We've had 2 molds, rubber molds, done with them on a non-rush order. So, but we need actual dates.
No, they've made high capacity molds for us too. I think that 1 week of it has to do with some kind of a holiday that they mentioned in the email.
I think that was only 3 or 4 days though.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, let's see what they say. It seems to me that, May 16th, and then it takes them, it's not going to take them a day, it's going to take them a half a day to make the 12,000 units and get them on their way. So I don't think that it ends up being critical path, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they updated that now.
Yeah. No, it's not 12,000, Mark. It's about Mauricio's number was right. The 4,000. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. It's
even if it's that,
375 an hour at 12-hour shift. So it's
okay,
like 45.60 something or something like that.
so so it's what, 3 days? Okay, so
Yeah.
But even if it's 4,000 a day, we can tell them ship the first 4,000 and then ship the remaining for that 12,000. But they can split ship. We can split ship all. It'll cost them more to ship it, but if they're going to extend our dates, and then they should be willing to do that. That's still, 4,000 units is 1,000 catalysts. So that certainly gets Travel Joy moving, doesn't it? Yeah, yeah,
It will be.
they will, they will. We assumed that in the plan, didn't we?
I think Tony even kind of confirmed so when we talked to
Yeah.
him that
Yeah.
that was his plan, because you asked him about that and he said, yeah, that's my plan,
Yeah,
to try to assemble what I can when it comes out. To
yeah,
get it
we
for
don't,
production.
what we don't know is, we don't know if he was assuming that he'd have the rubber teeth. You know, I don't know what the assembly sequence is with regard to when do you put the rubber teeth on? Do you put them on after or before? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So again, this is an area that we need to work out with Travel Joy to figure out what they intend to do.
Mhm.
You know, but I think it starts with, you're right, getting the rubber teeth and the knobs there as soon as possible. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. But we can't assume that. We have to go with the dates that they gave us. Right? This goes back to the philosophy that we were talking about on the weekend. We have to, let's put their dates in, and then let's show them, and have them confirm it all, and then let's work together to dial it in. You know.
Please stay clear of the voting lanes until we call you.
Right. That's because we're using port to door dates, not when that vessel leaves. We're estimating that we're going to ship it out immediately. I've never ever seen a shipment ship out immediately.
So then you got to update those estimated dates, Tim, in the spreadsheet, because I thought that those were, those were sorry, can you guys hear that nonsense behind me?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, so the RP comparison tool takes those dates and assumes that that's port to door. But, if you need to add some time.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to get with Christine, because I know that they just set up an office in Vietnam in particular. That should be quite helpful, trying to get out when they have vessels that leave and what date they have that leaves,
Yeah.
and we can try to match them up with where it's going to be ready, because that will tell us a story. I mean, because sometimes they'll leave once, twice a week. Sometimes it'll be once every 2 weeks, and then it'll all depend on when your things get done. So like sometimes we have shipments that finish production, but don't actually ship out to sea for upwards of like 5 to 12 days. That's stuff that I just